Hello everybody, my name is Katie. I'm the Introverted Reader, and I know it's been a minute since I've made a video or recorded anything. Sorry about that. Sorry if I look a mess as well. I was out and about today, and I know a lot of people towards the end of the year were filming their, I'll just move you around a little bit, were filming their like top books of like 2018. And to be honest, I think I already did a video like that, like sort of like halfway through 2018, so I was just like, you know what, I really can't be bothered doing that. So I decided instead this video is going to be books that surprised me in 2018. So basically these are books that I read last year that I didn't think I would enjoy, but eventually they have started to become like almost like top favorites of mine. So the first few I read on my Kindle, and the first, well, it's a series actually, and it was the Darkest Minds series by Alexandra Braken. Now these came out a good long while ago, and if you remember last year the movie adaptation for the Darkest Minds came out, and I did actually go and see it. It was alright. But I had read the first, I know I had read the first one before I had gone to see the film. I'd actually read it around the time when it had come out, and then just for some reason I just felt no need to continue with the series, so I never did. But then with the movie and everything coming out, I was just like, you know what, I want to give this series a second chance. So I got them on my Kindle, and you know, I just binge read all three, and I was really quite impressed. Although I did read the fourth book in the series, The Darkest Legacy. It follows the character named Zhu, and it's sort of like 5 years after the events in the last Darkest Minds book had taken place. And it was okay. To be honest, I didn't really see the point in it. If I'm completely honest, The Darkest Legacy was okay, but the original trilogy really like surprised me, and I was like, I didn't think that I would enjoy this much, but you know, that's just the way it is. You know, you give something a second chance, and then there you go. The next series that I want to talk about is the Fallen Kingdom series by Rhodes. Now, I've mentioned this series a good lot of times, and you know how I feel about Magnus de Mora, okay? He is just everything to me. You know, he's a character in this, and he's just so angsty, and I mean, he's so angsty and tough, but underneath it all, he's such a soft, small boy. Like, I just love him so much. Anyway, this was actually a book for September last year that we picked for the Introverted Reader Book Club. And to be honest, I picked it up on a whim in the bookshop, and I was like, you know, I've seen people talk about it, let's just give it a chance. And I didn't really have any expectations of it. I was like, right, okay, it's fantasy, whatever. And I read it, and I flew through this first one, and then the second one. I mean, I could talk individually about each book. Like, the series as a whole isn't perfect. Like, I could definitely name, you know, flaws within the series and stuff, but I was just really surprised at how it sucked me in. Like, I just had so much fun reading these, and that is the most important thing about reading, though, isn't it? Like, you just have fun. Just throw expectations out the window and just be entertained, just have fun. And that is what this series did for me, and I'm actually really excited as to see what Rhodes comes out with in the future, because she is a really amazing writer. The next one that I want to talk about is from an author that I had some issues with. I had read a series from this author as well last year. Didn't really overly enjoy that series, mainly because of one character in particular, and I just wasn't enthralled by the plot. Like, there wasn't that much happening, and that is By Schwab. Now, I read this towards the end of 2018 there. This is Vicious by BE Schwab, and also the sequel Vengeful I have over there as well. And again, I was so pleasantly surprised to how much I like this. Like, it's miles away from, you know, from the Darker Shades of Magic series, which the main reason I didn't like that series was obviously because there was really nothing that was happening, especially in the second one. And as well, there was a character in the Darker Shades of Magic series that I just hated. and she just ruined everything for me. But then I read this one, and see, reading this and Vengeful, it was like watching an episode of Sherlock. Like, if you've ever watched that TV show with Benedict Cumberbatch, like, that TV show is just everything to me, and it's going to be another 84 years before another season comes out, but, you know, and we're just going to deal with that. But reading this was like watching an episode of that in book form. And, like, it's just, I was honestly ready to dislike this because everybody was hyping this up the way the Darker Shades of Magic series is hyped up, and I read that and it wasn't worth the hype. But then I read this and I was like, do you know what? This might actually be worth the hype. This is actually hooking me in. Things are actually happening. I've got an actual morally grey character that I actually care about, you know? I was really just pleasantly surprised, which is the whole reason that we're here, you know? And I do have another Victoria Schwab book on my shelf. It's like a bind up of 2 other books that she'd written. I think it's like her debut book or something, but like I would definitely read more like in this like universe right here, because I just need more Victor in my life. Thank you. The next series that I want to talk about that pleasantly surprised me last year was the Shatter Me series by Tahereh Mafi. Now, I've heard a lot of people on BookTube say that they do not like this, and you know what, that's fine. You know, like, you don't like something, whatever. But I think the main reason that not a lot of people like this series was because they just took it too seriously. You know, they were all just like, things happened, didn't seem all that realistic, and and I'm like, sweetheart, it's entertainment, the same as any other medium out there. Like, whether it's a movie, a TV show, a book, it's all just here for entertainment. It's not here for you to take seriously. I mean, yes, obviously take serious in the sense that you respect the author for their work. Like, that's all. I mean, that's all an author wants, but at the same time, all an author wants is for you to have fun while reading and for you to feel something, like to feel joy. And this is actually turning into one of my favorites, like, ever. Like, and I'm so excited for, like, I think it's, like, the 5th book is coming out soon. I think it's called Defy Me. Like, Tahereh has been, like, teasing it on Instagram, and I'm just like, I need it now. I need more Warner in my life. Like, I have his novella sitting up there. It's a bind-up of his and Adam's, but I don't want to read Adam's because Adam's garbage. But, like, this series, like, I just threw expectation out the window and read it and had so much fun, and I fall in love with all these characters. Like, I love it so much. I love it. The next trilogy I want to talk about is actually, I mentioned Shatter Me in my favorites of 2018 so far video, and I mentioned this series as well, and it's the Captive Prince trilogy by C.S Pacat. Now, to be honest, a lot of people had warned me against this trilogy, mainly because of just the sexual content within it. They were like, it's very, very raunchy. There's a lot of sexual assault. You know, they talk about like rape and stuff, and it's just like not okay. And that's true. Like, you do need to be a bit older. You need to be an old gal like me to read this. But like, it's because it says mature audience on the back, okay? Because there's a lot of sexual stuff that happens, but I just thought that it would be too raunchy for me. But like, oh my goodness, I read this first one and I was like, okay. And even though I remember saying in my Goodreads review that Laurent was an asshole, I still secretly loved him. And I love Damon, I love Laurent, like, I just love them. And she put out like a short story called The Summer Palace. I read that and cried. I'm not even kidding. I read this trilogy and then I wanted more, and then I found out she had written this short story called The Summer Palace, and I read that and I cried. I actually had tears in my eyes reading that. But like, this right here, this trilogy, it's so, like, it talks about slavery, it talks about, you know, like, it's not just about the sex stuff, like, it talks about like slavery and like civil wars, and there's a lot of politics in there too. I mean, there's a lot packed in here. It's quite short, but like, again, I just had fun, and my heart now belongs to Prince Laurent of Vere. I had to look at the back there to remember where it is that he's from. but I love this. Love it, I love it, I love it. The next one is kind of a controversial one if you are aware of this author, but Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas. Now, a lot of people have a lot to say about Sarah's books and how they're like problematic or whatever, and I get that, okay? I understand. And when she was talking about how she was gonna be writing a novella about Kale, I was like, I'm not really here for that. Like, I genuinely thought I wouldn't enjoy this. I was like, I'll probably just get it, I'll read it, I'll probably not enjoy it, be like, meh, whatever. But then I got it, and I read it, and I was just, like, hooked from the start, and I like Kale now. I like Kale. Like, I mean, I never hated him, but he was never my favourite. And, like, reading this after just gave me a whole new perspective on his character and, like, just who he is as a man in general. Like, I was so pleasantly surprised. The whole point of this video. But, like, wow. Well, like, I like Kale now. But this is the only physical copy of a Throne of Glass book that I own now. I got rid of all the rest of the series because Aelin, what's her face, Garbage River, whatever her last name is, can go choke. The very last book I want to talk about is actually a classic that I read last year. It was a book club pick, and it's The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. I have a history with this book as well. I read a little bit of it, and then I guess I was just too young to understand the context of the story. So I was just like, oh, I don't like this anymore, and then I dropped it. But then picked it up again in this gorgeous edition, and I really, really liked it. I really, really, really liked it. And I don't say that a lot about a lot of classics that I read. Like, I've read classics before, and a lot of them, like, meh, it was boring, meh, nothing happened, or meh, you know. But this one, I was like, okay, Oscar Wilde, I see you. And I think Oscar Wilde was Irish. Now that I'm thinking on it, I know Bram Stoker was Irish. And when I was reading Dracula, someone pointed that out. And then I finished Dracula, and I was like, meh. But then I read this one, and I was like, oh, yes, so this is a classic that I actually like. Go me! Right, so that's it. That is all the books in 2018 that I read that I was pleasantly surprised by. You know, that I didn't think that I would like, but you know what? This is a lesson, okay? No matter what it is that you're reading, give it a fair shot, because you never know. You might enjoy it. Or if in the end you don't enjoy it, that's okay. At least you can tell yourself that you gave that book a fair shot, and at least you were entertained, So that is all I have for you today. I have more videos coming in the future. Thank you so much to everybody that has been subscribing and commenting. It literally means so much. Thank you for indulging this 26 going on 27 old granny. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, comment if you've read any of these books, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.